Hi, I'm Kristi with Happily Hooked magazine. In this video, we are going to learn how to read a pattern. You will learn how to read about the materials you will need and other important details such as gauge and utilizing the notes given so that you can begin and finish your project with confidence. Join me as we walk through the Jubilee garland from the latest printed version of Happily Hooked magazine. We will be working from the Jubilee Garden in the March 2020 issue of Happily Hooked magazine. When you want to learn how to read a pattern, you need to look at the very beginning, starting at the yarn. Here it will tell you what yarn you need, which is in this case Line Brand Yards 24/7 cotton. It's a weight 4 and it has all of the details about the yarn right there with it. So it's 100% mercerized cotton. And then it gives you the yards and the ounces so that you will know exactly how much you need to complete your project. It also tells you what colors you need. Next, you have hook and other materials. For this project, you need a US size H8 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. On my crochet hook, it tells me right here that it's an H 5.0 millimeter. Yours may have different colors or styles, but you need to make sure it lines up and you check your gauge. We'll just go over that in just a moment. Your skill level here is easy. You may find that other ones say intermediate or advanced, but if you're a beginner, you need to look for easy patterns. Sizes, finished measurements. It's pretty easy and self-explanatory. This is your finished measurements. Gauge. On this one, it says that it's not critical for this project. But if you have a project such as slippers or gloves or anything like that, you need to check your gauge. Now, just a quick lesson on how to do that. And I have the Nova rug here from the magazine. The gauge here is 8 double crochet in 2 rows equals 2.5 inches. And that's 5 centimeters. So what you would do is you would make a swatch. You would chain about 10 or so, a little past 2 inches, how many ever that may be. And then you'll work a double crochet swatch because that's what it tells you. That's how it checks. So then you would work about 2 to 3 inches and then measure. So you would have 8 double crochet in 2 rows. So that's how you check a gauge swatch. Sometimes it's single crochet, sometimes it's half double crochet. And it really just depends on the pattern. So make sure you check that unless it says like this one, gauge is not critical for this project. Then you need to read your notes. Your notes say similar weight for yarns may be substituted. Please check your gauge. So if you wanted to substitute out of yarn, it's telling you to substitute out weight 4s. If you use a weight 3, it's going to make it look a lot different, as the same as if you did a number 5 or number 6 or number 7, you know, the jumbo yarn. So it recommends that you use a weight 4. The second note says beginning chain 3 counts as first double crochet. Now that's important that you read this in your notes because within the pattern, I'm just going to show you really fast, kind of skip ahead. In your pattern, it says right here, chain 3, it counts as a double crochet now and throughout, so it gives you a reminder. But then here, it doesn't tell you, but it's implied that this chain 3 right here is your first double crochet. Same thing for row 3 and same thing for row 4. Now, we finished all of the first section, the yarn, the hook and other materials, the skill level, sizes, gauge, and notes. Now it's time to create your motif. So when reading a pattern, you start at the very beginning. And I know that sounds obvious, but a lot of people like to just assume that, you know, you can just jump around or, you know, just read through it really fast. But you need to take your time and start at the beginning and read through it. Make sure you understand the abbreviations. Make sure that you have a general idea of what you're doing. So I'm going to work through the first row or 2 with you, just so that we read through this together. So this one says, chain 6, join to the first chain to form a ring. Now to show you how that works, I'm going to move this over and work over here. So I started with a slip knot, and I'm assuming right now that we know how to crochet, so I'm going to work kind of fast, and we'll have other tutorials showing you all the specific special stitches, but for now, this is what we're going to do. Just read the pattern. So chain 6, join into the first chain, and you'll just do that with a slip knot, like that right there. Now, row 1 says chain 3. That counts as the first double crochet now and throughout. So let's do that together. 1, 2, 3. So we've got that part. Now 9 double crochet in the ring, and then we will turn. So let's work that together. And I'm going to take my end and just work over it to just hide it and work it in as we go. So 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we worked in our end as we went, and now we have a total of 10. I wanted to work through row 1 with you so that you could see that this is exactly how it's going to work between chain 3, and it tells you what that means, and then the 9 double crochet in the ring, and then what you're supposed to have. Now moving on to row 2, it says chain 3, which we know that means that is our first double crochet in the next, which means you're going to double crochet in the next stitch. Then we have a bracket here and a bracket here, and I'm just going to emphasize them so that we can see what it says. It says chain 2, double crochet in the next 2. Following that, it says 4 times. So what you're going to do when there's brackets is repeat what's in the brackets how many times it says afterwards. So this will just work across that row and then turn. At the end of row 2, you should have 10 double crochet and 4 chain 2 spaces. Row 3 is chain 3. Then we have parentheses, and I write all over my patterns so that I can reuse those notes the next time, so feel free to do so. Everything that you do in the parentheses is going to be worked in 1 stitch or space, and right afterwards we'll tell you exactly where to do that. So here it says to do that in each chain 2 space. Double crochet in the last, so double crochet in the last stitch, and then turn. For row 3, you will have 18 double crochet and 4 chain 2 spaces. Row 4 says chain 3, double crochet in the same. So if we do that, if we'll look at it here on our work, there's a chain 3 and a double crochet in the same. And then the next part says single crochet in the space between double crochet and 2 DC sets. So if you look at your previous row, here's the double crochet, here's the 2 DC sets. So that's where you're going to place the single crochet. Then you will have 8 double crochet in the chain 2 space. Here's that 8 double crochet in that chain 2 space. Then single crochet between the next 2 double crochet sets, 8 double crochet in the chain 2 space, and then here's some more parentheses. Single crochet, chain 3, single crochet between the next 2 double crochet sets. And I'm reading this out, even though I'm not working it for you, I'm reading it out because sometimes if you will just read it out loud, it will just make so much more sense than just reading it in your head. Then we have brackets. So we have parentheses and we have brackets within the same row here. So 8 double crochet in the chain 2 space, single crochet between the next 2 double crochet sets. How many times? 2 times. So let me show you what that means. So 8 double crochet here in the chain 2 space, single crochet between the sets, 8 double crochet in the next chain 2 space, single crochet between the sets, which this would count as your last set here. So there's that. Then to finish, it says 2 double crochets in the last. For this row, you should have 36 double crochets, 6 single crochets, 1 chain 3 space, and that's it. So whenever you're completed with your project, it will tell you to fasten off and then weave in ends. For the assembly, it says with the color of choice, chain 15. Make sure right side is facing. And then we have a little star, a little asterisk there. And I circle mine so that it's a point of reference. Single crochet in the first chain 3 space of the motif. Chain 1, single crochet, and we have parentheses again. In the next chain space across the top of the motif. So what we're doing right here is we're creating the chain that goes across the top, and it's telling you where to work it. So after you do that, then it says chain 5 again. Then repeat from the asterisk across each motif and then chain 15. So all that means is to go back here where we circled it and work all the way through. And then you'll repeat starting back here. And then go all the way through that section, all the way through that section until you get finished going across your last motif. So whenever you finish all of that, then you will chain 15. That way this chain 15 and this chain 15 is at each end so that you can hang it up pretty easy. Then you will fasten off and weave in ends. Then it tells you the finishing. Use matching color for each motif. Cut 5 strands 14 inches long and attach to the chain 3 space in center of motif as fringe. Trim evenly. So all that is it's telling you to add the fringe at the bottom of each motif in this chain 3 space right here in the center. So basically what this is a step-by-step, stitch by stitch in order of how to complete your project. Everything from making it, the assembly, and finishing, every detail down to the fringe. So you're in good hands whenever you're reading through Happily Hooked's patterns. So give it a try and then join me back here for the next Happily Hooked tutorial.